Hello everyone, my name's Pete and I don't like social interaction, hot weather or MMOs. So no, I don't want to hang out with you this summer. But whilst I have been out in the sun and have attended some social gatherings to confirm I don't like them, I haven't played many MMOs and I've learned that they're not all the same. Playing games I've claimed not to like has become something of a hobby of mine, and here are a few people who've been following along. I dedicate all my videos to this list of individuals who have chosen to support me despite not even uploading. If being on this list interests you, then you're probably in need of therapy, but that said, you can find the information in the description. Special thanks to Perry for this video, as he was most eager to see my impressions on a relic from his past. MapleStory, something that I had never heard of until I started this series, has been around since 2003, but didn't make it to Europe until 2007. Now, being in the later stages of my life, I'd already left school at this point, and I spent most of my time playing things like Mortal Kombat and Kingdom Hearts, so it went quite naturally under my radar. It definitely doesn't look like something that would normally interest me, and that's exactly why I'm going to play it. Launching the game takes you back to a simpler time. Despite being updated over the years, this still looks and feels like an early 2000s game. I'm immediately faced with a choice of two worlds, Lunar or Reboot. I'm told that Reboot features no trading between players, and focuses on the joys of character progression, and well, I don't want to interact with people unless I have to, so that sounds just dandy. And then it goes to character creation. First of all, I should state that I'm not a fan of the character art style. There's nothing particularly wrong with it, it's just not for me. Secondly, this looks like a character selection screen, not a creation one. These people have names, and this is a cast of 5 characters, so I'm a little confused. Some of them have class names, sort of, and one even has his own music. I guess I'll make my decision based on the attribute bar, and the one I'm looking for is anything marked as easy because I am stupid. I settle on being an explorer for absolutely no reason, and then there's a small but functional character creator. There's not a great deal of choice, but that's okay. I take purple hair, my name is available thankfully, and then I'm asked to choose a keybind setting. I'm left wondering what sort of spider-handed demon plays with these keys. Apparently it's the old school controls, but I'm new in these parts, so I'll pick the other ones. I'm then given the option to make my character a hyper-burning character, which is a powerful leveling boost that can be applied during the current event. This, I suppose, is my first warning sign that a grind is coming in the near future, but I'm not expecting to be here for long, so why not? Some text appears telling me a story of heroes and adventures. The final part of the story is spoken aloud by a voice that inspires irrational anger.
So was he born, and so did he fall. And when the pitch-black sunset stains the northern sky.
The person speaking is named Sugar, and just as she's talking about a maple leaf heralding the coming of a hero, a glowing maple leaf falls from the tree directly into my hand. Sugar tells me she's lost her hairpin, and I have no choice but to volunteer to retrieve it. This is the movement tutorial. Arrow keys move you around and the Alt key jumps, nothing complicated here, except that the Windows key is right next to jump and I have poor coordination, so let me just lock the Windows key before continuing. I find the hairpin and return it to Sugar, who gives me the magic words.
Yeah, that's a pretty cool name.
I need to explain to her that I'm not actually an explorer, I just live here and this is my emotional support axe. Sugar talks about going on adventures, and then decides to tell me she's really strong. To prove this, she conjures a box and lifts it over her head, spilling the contents out. It was a bunch of snails that fell out, and they're now broken and she's sad about it. I hope I'm not stuck with you for a long time, Sugar, because you seem to be your own worst enemy. She needs more snail shells and insists that I help her get them, so I follow her through a magical portal, and sure enough on the other side there are snails. They hurt if you walk into them, and I've forgotten the jump button and haven't been told the attack button. If this is painful to watch, then you can leave now, because over the next 5 hours of playtime, it doesn't get any better. Sugar is out of my reach, which I thought was a problem until I clicked on a speech bubble. She tells me to collect green snail shells, and I learn that Control is my attack button, and Z picks up loot from the ground. Other than the one voice in the character art style, I've very little to complain about so far. After killing a few snails, I level up, and this prompts a new window to open with tooltips on how to allocate skills, but because I've no safe place to stand from the snails while I process this, I get too distracted and fail to understand what I'm reading. Clicking on Sugar completes the quest, and I'm then teleported onto the platform with her while she starts flapping on about adventures and missions and saving the world. She says all explorers need a reason to go off an adventure. My reason is pain and suffering, but I can't tell her that. I do get a flashback of this moving scene from 3 minutes ago though. Then she asks if I'd like to go on an adventure with her. I tried to refuse, but this had the unfortunate effect of starting the whole interaction from the beginning. I accept the quest and she says,
You're not just saying that, are you?
And yes, I am just saying it. Jumping through another portal, I find myself in the little village. I suppose I could have spoken to these people for some more information, and in hindsight I was probably expected to do so, but my highly developed brain chose instead to diligently follow the arrow to the portal on the other side. Through this one I'm greeted by May, who gives me a boat ticket in exchange for some snail shells and then offers me some basic training. This consists at hacking at these tree stumps for several minutes and not much else, so I move on. I hop through the next portal where I'm greeted to a bunch of people shouting about available jobs. I thought I was making a choice here, but it's just demonstrations of the later abilities of each job. I take the time to look at them, but they all seem to have the same functionality, just in different colours with cool animations. I walk through a town, I think, which is just one screen in length, and then I find a ship I must board, and then, against my will, I'm thrust into a D&D group of insufferable people. We meet Olive, Tess, and Rondo. There's a lot of talking here, and nothing important is said. Everyone states their desired class choice and reasons for it, and I decide I'll be a warrior because I'm boring. I also decide, or rather the decision is made for me, that I'll be pursuing the mystery of the Golden Leaf. Then there's a cutscene that outstays its welcome, with the overarching message being that sometimes things are good and sometimes they are bad. And then we land, and I'm sent to the trainer who will confirm my job choice. I meet Dances with Balrog, and yes, that's his name, who asks me to confirm my choice of becoming a warrior. Then this show-off introduces himself by immediately bragging that he's level 200.
He's number one in the class.
Whoop-de-doo, Basil.
Then windows start opening over windows and the explanation gets a bit confusing and stressful, and reading, clicking and taking notes becomes a bit overwhelming. I fumble my way through enough to get teleported out by accepting a quest, and Tess wants to see my leaf. I show him and he's not really impressed, and then I get teleported here and that's a lot of stuff on the screen. I'm saved by a quest that informs me that Olive, who we met on the boat, is now a wanted criminal with a bounty of 200 million currency. I get teleported again, and now I have no idea where I'm going or what I'm looking for. Luckily, Olive finds me instead, and she's not too pleased to see me. We have a little fight, and I realise I don't know how to use any of the skills I just learned. Fortunately, I can just slap her with my sword a few times and she goes down. After fighting me, she decides to claim she's innocent, but it's too late because Rondo is here to turn her in as well. At this point, I'm very aware that I'm not doing much playing and I'm simply reading and being thrown about. This isn't helping me connect to either the world or the gameplay, as everything is happening around me and I'm not really involved. The good news is that will change, the bad news is it's not for a while. I'm told about the portal scrolls that will teleport me to the nearest town, but honestly I have no idea how far away anything is because I haven't walked anywhere since the boat. I would really like the chance to go and explore for myself, but I don't think I'll get to just yet. Olive gets cleared of the charges when it's revealed that someone very cunningly named the Master of Disguise turns out to be the thief, and she was in fact framed. Myself and the children I met before are tasked with finding the Master's hideout to retrieve what was stolen. We get there and have to decide how to best approach the task. Personally, I think charging in with no regard for safety is the best option. I'm told I can't do that, and so instead we take the hat off a dude who wanders out, and this is enough disguise for us to walk in. It turns out he was in disguise too. Coincidence? Yeah, I think it is actually. This mine is occupied by a group named the Black Wings. Their insignia is on the hat that we're using to get in. They're a group that are wanting to revive the Black Mage, and I have it on good authority that this is bad news for everyone. We find the seal stone laying on the ground, and that's all I needed to get. I expected some kind of gameplay, but got nothing but more text boxes to click on. At this point I've been playing for about an hour and I've done next to nothing. On the one hand, I often complain about there not being enough story, but this has gone too far in the opposite direction and had me sit through a visual novel instead of playing a game. We return the stone to its rightful owner, along with proof that Olive wasn't the criminal, and I'm rewarded with hitting level 25. Not bad for just being teleported around and clicking next. I assign stat points almost at random, and then Olive tells me to do some training. She guides me to some wholesome looking mushrooms, and I have an epic showdown with one of them, and I guess that's enough training for one day. And then I went to take a short break of 4 days, and upon returning I forgot the controls. Whilst reacquainting myself with everything, I find my skills menu and figure out how to map them to buttons whilst applying points. I don't know what's good and what's not, so if this looks like the terrible use of points, then please yell in the comments and I promise to read your advice. I pick up the questline from where I left off and get teleported around again, and I've completely lost track of who, what and where at this point, so don't expect me to explain the story from this point. Apparently the Black Mage is about to wake up, but I can't do anything about it because I'm still being teleported around. This lady is telling me this door is closed when clearly it's open, and I'm not falling for your games, princess. I'm supposed to go in and replace a cracked stone, but when I do, the Black Mage speaks to me and tells me no. I try to do it anyway, but the stone cracks, and I guess that means he's free now? I then get shoved onto a screen that's possibly the best representation of sensory overload I've ever seen, and I fumble with the UI for a few minutes before clicking on the light bulb above my head to get a quest and once again be teleported. The island we started on has been set on fire and we're off to investigate, and the expression on our faces says it all. I explain to my companions that the Black Mage is now free and that it's possibly sort of a little bit my fault, and then I get ridiculed for maybe being the chosen one. Tess is mad at me for the Black Mage incident, and that's fair, I'd be mad at myself too in this situation. I have the option to cry and give up, and that's totally relatable. What isn't relatable is that I was told this game was a total grind, but maybe that's after this heap of plot I'm going through. After a bit of dramatic sulking on my part, the guys come chasing me to tell me that Sugar is in danger, and honestly that's okay with me. But we still get a flashback of all of our very meaningful time together over the last hour or so, and it's very moving. I have to get to Sugar, but I can't just walk there. I need to click the light bulb and be teleported again, and honestly I'm getting pretty sick of not being able to get somewhere myself. At least I'm finally able to do something, as I'm pitted against a series of black snails, which, due to my extremely fast levelling, are as trivial as the first snails I fought. I find Sugar under the maple tree with a shadow looming behind her. Sugar and I casually chat while the shadow politely watches on and waits his turn. She says she has to stay and protect the tree and won't come with me. Then a voice in my head tells me that my heart is the key and I get to fight the shadow. It runs away from me because I'm really strong, and now it looks like Sugar won't make it. How sad. Then I ruin it by saving the tree with the sealstone. I've managed to save all of Maple World already, and that feels a bit off. In the blink of an eye, all the destruction is undone, and everything is shiny and happy again. Everyone is very concerned about Sugar's death for about 58 seconds, and then we all decide to continue being adventurers, and I think that concludes this little adventure. Lots has happened, but I haven't really done anything. World saving usually takes more than this. Here I hit level 40, and I begin to think that I may have made a silly choice with the fast level up option, but I'll stick with my choice and push on. I'm teleported yet again, this time to the warrior instructor because it's time to get a job advancement. This comes to me as a choice. I can be a fighter, a page, or a spearman. These choices lead to different jobs later on. A fighter becomes a hero, a page becomes a paladin, and a spearman will become Batman. I'm given a quick glimpse of what these will eventually look like, and once again it seems to me that other than the colours of the animations, they're functionally very similar. I'm a big fan of spears however, and I don't think they get enough love, so I think I've made my decision. With that, I learned some new skills, mapped them to keys, and where am I now? It seems that teleporting me everywhere has had the expected effect of leaving me completely lost. I have no idea where I am, or how to get back to somewhere useful. I don't even know what or where useful things are. Outside of this little questline, I haven't actually experienced any of the things to do. I don't know where to go to fight things or collect useful items, and I'm pretty stuck. There are a few good examples here of weird environment design, like this cab parked on what looks like a difficult mountain pass, and a truck on a floating platform. Luckily, the cab performs as you might expect and can take me back to Hennesis, which is one of two places I actually recognise. I get concerned with how I'll find something appropriate to do, but fortunately for me, there is a button that shows available quests. There's a filter to show quests in my level, and I pick one at random to start with. I accept the quest, which of course teleports me to this vibrant jungle town. And from here it's a case of following the arrow to the correct NPC. I'm given a brief description of the problem, which is spooky person spotted in forest, and I set off to investigate. Poor Annie got jump scared and fainted in the woods. I start by asking the fairies for information, because obviously, and then I head further into the forest to find the spooky figure. This is the first time I've been left to navigate for myself, sort of. I'm still being guided around, but at least I'm doing it myself instead of teleporting. Deep down in the shadows of the undergrowth, I find myself amidst a horde of despicable monsters. By which I mean these cute little owls in their eggshell hats accompanied by these adorable spiky blueberries. Their existence will not be tolerated, and I begin mercilessly mowing them down because that is what my quest helper said to do. The enemies respawn very fast and I'm having a hard time using the controls, most likely because I haven't really had to use them until now. I hit my target for murder and I get a follow-up quest to do more murder. This giant blueberry appears and I can't do much damage to it, so I bravely retreat to the next screen to do my murder more safely. From here I go on a pretty long chain of Kill X quests, and this seems to be more like the game I was warned about. Admittedly, the feeling of a grind isn't really there because I have a level up boost, but I can see how this might become a little bit stale after a while. For now, this is a welcome change of pace because for this whole time I'm allowed to walk by myself to destinations. I still have an arrow to guide me, but even that is forgivable after what I got at first. At a glance, I would guess that one of the bigger problems with this opening is that there is too much plot on display without enough player participation. Out of all the MMOs I've tried, this is the first time the problem has existed this way around. As it's an older game, it may also suffer from content bloat from years of updates, but if you give it just a little bit of time, the gameplay and art style come together for an overall cozy experience, if a little nonsensical. Well hey, who plays games and takes them seriously, am I right? Before I check out, I just wanted to see if the tutorial was specific to my character choice, so I roll a new character and no, I met the same group of people, so this is just how it is. It's not bad, it's just a little too much watching and not enough playing. Whilst I don't think it's quite for me, MapleStory still has a decent experience to offer. I didn't hate the controls after getting used to them. The environments are all distinct and charming and there seems to be more than enough to do. That is if you like stabbing cute little creatures in the face for personal gain. Thanks once again to the world's most patient Patreon supporters for making me feel sufficiently guilty to make another video, and as always, I'm open to suggestions of games to try in the comments. Pressing subscribe makes me feel nice, but I apologise in advance for being wildly consistent with uploads. In any case, thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next one.